rest my pillowcase.
Pillowcase? He's quick.
That's what she said. In fact, that's what she just said.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Dots FM. Live, well, it's not live, but it's live at the moment as we're recording it. Live from York.
Spot the wallpaper.
Apartment chosen based on the fact that we have the same wallpaper. It looks like our house and therefore it's home from home, isn't it?
Feels that way.
And the pub next door, which is also a shop, sells the most awesome of Belgian beers.
I wouldn't know, I'm drinking coffee. Moving swiftly along as we often do. What have we got on this episode?
We've got what's on, what's new, what's up.
We'll be looking at travelling light with your equipment.
And then we have a new feature, Dots Do Door.
We've got the YouTuber of the week.
Followed by our synth of the week.
And then we're going to round off with a jam by somebody or other that we will determine very shortly. On with the show.
What's on? What's new? What's up?
So first off, let's have a look at what's on and what's happening. Tell us more.
Well, we will be going to an event on Saturday the 5th of February, curated by Hymns for Robots. It's based in Morecambe and it's a whole day and evening of synth.
We thought it was in Lancaster, where
We did.
they normally do it. So we booked a hotel in Lancaster.
We planned everything around it and then realised it was in Morecambe and had to change our plans. So,
Sorry Lancaster, but we will return one day. So Hymns for Robots, and it's a full day event. There's all sorts on. The veggie synth guy is on, isn't he?
yes, so there's 3 workshops in the day. The first one being playing a veggie synth. We will add a clip to when we played a veggie synth.
If it's the same guy.
It's probably the same guy.
I can't
would
imagine
expect.
there being too many people who do this kind of thing. Hang on, let me get these.
Also in the afternoon there's a session on creating beats with Ableton, which we are going to be attending, aren't we?
Yeah.
We do create our beats on Ableton, but we want to see if we can create them better. So
As well as the analog synths, a bit of Ableton, can't go wrong.
Yeah.
And what else have we got? What does that say? I can't read it.
There was the last afternoon session is creating visuals.
I wanted to go.
Robots, yeah, but it was like age 7 to 13 or something like that, so we couldn't go. But whoever, if your kids are interested, then their visuals will then be used for the evening performances. So
I was looking forward to that.
in terms of the evening performances, that brings us on to someone we have recently discovered who was supporting Oon back in January.
Fantastic, wasn't it?
Paddy Steer.
Paddy Steer.
Oh my God.
If you don't know Paddy Steer, and we didn't, but we do, check him out. Absolutely incredible.
His modular synth was like, oh my God, it was something out of another world, and he wears this really cool mask. And we will put a clip from the last...
I think he the headline.
He's headlining on
yes.
Yeah. So we can't wait to see him again. And I think I think there's 3 acts on, and they all talk about their synth setup beforehand, and so you kind of learn a bit more of how they...
I would be very interested to see how the hell he does that.
Yeah, it's very good.
Next up we have a section called Travelling Light, which is something we like to do. Now we try and squeeze as much as we can into one or two cases. There's a lot of benefits to travelling light. There's less wires to fiddle around with, and as you know, the more wires, the more problems. What have we got?
Well, I mean, we're just on holiday for a couple of days, but we couldn't come without some kind of music. So I've got my computer with all the software on, and then I decided to bring this, which obviously is a little keyboard MIDI controller. I will demo it in a minute. Don't press any buttons. This is great. It's by Korg. It's called the Nano Key 2, and it does what it looks like. It's a little mini keyboard. It's got octave shifts on it, sustain, pitch up and down, and a mod button that I don't think I've ever used. But it's just great for travelling light. It comes in a nice little case like this. They're very good. They're not that expensive. I think they're about 60 quid or something like that, if that. And if I just demo, I've got this hooked up to
Twitter?
Not Twitter. I am on Twitter at the moment. Wait a minute, let me have a look. So I've got it hooked up to my DAW, Ableton, and we've just got a synth in here. Let's see what we've got.
Alright. Because of the wallpaper.
I know, thought keep it the 70s.
Change me that note.
There we go. So that is our travelling light little keyboard. Fantastic bit of kit. It comes with the USB wire as well, so you don't need anything else.
What could you ask for? Thank you very much, Nikki, for that demonstration.
You are welcome.
Moving swiftly along, or even more swiftly than we have done in the past. Next up, we've got a new section for our little podcast. It's called Dots Do DAW. So let's go over to Nikki to see what it's all about.
Okay, so Dots Do DAW. So we are going to be talking about the DAW, which is called, what does that mean?
Digital Audio Workstation.
That's it, Digital Audio Workstation. So that's basically the software where you can produce and record your music. So a lot of people will have heard of GarageBand, that comes free with an Apple Mac. And then there's Logic, which is the paid version of the GarageBand platform, which has got a lot more bells and whistles on it. And the other one, which is the one that we use, is called Ableton. I mean, there's a lot, but Ableton is one of the main players. And Ableton has a bit of a USP. So normally, if I just flick between these, this is what you'd see in a normal DAW. So you'd see all your different tracks, so your drums and your bass and your guitar, whatever you're recording, and you'll see that in kind of a linear format of what's been recorded in. The interesting thing about Ableton is it has this session view, which is designed for playing live. You can trigger all these little clips, so you can record clips into these little squares, and then you can trigger them at any time in any order, and you can use it for live performance because you can change stuff around and do stuff on the fly, which is really good. So I've got a sample disco pack in there, so we will just demo this. Let me get the speaker out. So here we go. And you can either trigger an individual track at a time by clicking on one of these buttons, or you can trigger a whole line of tracks, which is what I'm going to start off with.
Oh, yeah.
So then I can mix it up a bit by triggering a different whole line or a different clip. So at the moment I'm triggering lines off, but then I can decide that if I want to change my bass, I can just trigger that bass to go back to the original bass. Add some keys.
keys. Turn it up.
As loud as it gets in this session. So there you have it. That is how you can trigger your clips from Ableton.
Thank you very much, Nikki. We are in York, as we mentioned, and based here in York also is...
LNA Does Audio. She is a fantastic YouTuber who does Ableton tutorials. She is a certified Ableton trainer. She also makes her own music and she does a lot of stuff. It's worth checking out her YouTube channel. We will put a link in the description.
She's incredible, isn't she?
She's brilliant and she's dead funny as well. So it's like you can learn in a nice relaxed environment where you can have a bit of a laugh. So yeah, she is originally from Finland, and when we were just having a look at her bio earlier, I was like, oh my God, we'd already had her on the list for doing on this podcast. And I was like, oh my God, she is actually
Pure
in
coincidence.
York. Couldn't believe it. But she has also, last year, I've not watched it yet, she released a documentary. I need to read the pad because I wrote it down and I can't remember the name. It's about women in music production and it's called In Control, A Journey into Music Production. So that sounds like it would be a really interesting watch.
Can we watch that later? Is it on YouTube?
We can watch it later. It is on YouTube, so I believe it. There's a link on our website, and if there's a link to YouTube, we'll try and put it in the description above. But yeah, she's absolutely brilliant. So definitely check her out.
Bring it in, sister. So this is the Circuit Monostation, which, before we go any further, I should add, has been discontinued. It's an analog synth. It makes some incredible noises. It does great synth bass sounds. It does pads. It does everything. It also does some fantastic percussion sounds. But just have a little listen to some of this. Percussive sounds. It has got far more features than we could go through in a short time, and I wish I actually knew how to use them. Having said that, we have recorded a full 30-odd minute album, which is called Space Frog, done with the Monosynth, the Monostation, sorry, incorporating a couple of the Volkers and some Bastel Castle. We will put a link to it. See what you think. It's a free download. What do you want for nothing? Circuit Monostation, a fabulous, discontinued dinosaur now, isn't it?
And finally, we are going to leave you with a link to a jam.
This is Ricky. Is it Teens or Teenez? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I say Teenez, but
Teens?
It might be Teens. I don't know.
Make your own mind up. This is Ricky Teens, who is an expert on all things Orbation and other things as well. He's doing a jam with the Monostation and one of the tiny pocket operators. Is it the PO12, I think?
Yeah, the rhythm, is it?
He's got a couple on there, but anyway, check this one out. Meanwhile, we will see you probably another day.
Probably.
And until then, as they say around here, bye-bye.
Bye.